It's really important to present your organization and your firm properly to the United Nations organization system, to the other opportunities out there, which be they foundations or international NGOs, and that there's a range of opportunities out there. The second point is you have to be prepared for the market, which means you have to have your personnel ready, your practical background and experience, your corporate profile, and your management team ready to go. The third point that I'd like to make is the preparation in going after opportunities to market. So there are specific kinds of opportunities, be they expressions of interest or requests for proposals, but you have to have the right kinds of people available. And if you don't, you should partner for success. And you should never, ever get discouraged because you have to try and try again. There's many groups out there that can support you, like the Canadian Association of International Development Professionals, or CAIDP, which has a plethora of resources and many, many experts available that you can access just through the website. So I'd strongly encourage you to look at these opportunities, but also to look at the resources that are there to support you. You're not alone. You don't have to do it by yourself.
The only way to win proposals is to keep writing them. Don't ever give up. That's my first bit of advice for the afternoon. So I'm gonna focus on non-global affairs opportunities today. Most important, there are many opportunities out there for you, and unlike the past, where there were single portals, we have opportunities which are decentralized, opportunities that are thematic, opportunities that are sectoral, opportunities that are geographic, and funding opportunities that come through even religious portals. So when I was thinking about, just the things that we've been applying for this year, and won, International Labour Organization, United Nations organizations, multilateral funding organizations, international associations, foundations, and large academic organizations. So that's just, that range that I put up there are ranges that we won. So you want to make sure that you take care of the whole range of those opportunities and the whole portion of the proposal, not just the technical, but the financial as well. So a lot of people, they wait till the very end to prepare their financial proposal. Don't do that. You have to make a schedule, you have to make a responsibility matrix, and you have to know what the competition is. So when Vaughn pointed out that he has a couple hundred proposals out there, don't bet your organization's future on a proposal that you put in where there are 200 competitors. That is not sound planning. You have to look at the spectrum of opportunity, and you have to look at the biggest opportunities out there. And the biggest opportunities out there are the UN organization system. And the system includes pretty much every organization there is. These UNICEF, WFP, the World Health Organization, United Nations, UNDP. I'll just use the acronyms. I know I'm not supposed to because it's too long. UNFP, the Food Program, UNAIDS, UN Women, UNESCO. We have won proposals with every single one of these, by the way. So these are viable opportunities. We're a Canadian firm, so we have a competitive advantage based on our currency differentiation right now, by the way. So you can review all of these organizations right here. They have a list of them on that link, and again, this will be made available to you. For personnel, for individuals, you have to fill out what's called a P11 form. So P11 is basically your CV. So once you prepare that P11, you're going to be able to apply to all of these. So when you see this on the website, you're gonna be able to click on any one of these links and you'll see the opportunity. But the most important thing is to fill out that P11 form. So even if you're just working in an organization and your organization, you still have to apply with the P11 form. So that's a UN organization tip. If you haven't completed the P11 form, complete the P11 form now. So you can see on this page here is a hyperlink list of the organs and the specialized agencies. So there are typically, I would say, more opportunities available on the specialized agencies than on the UN organs. It's a little bit a little bit just varied, but I just make a general statement here for the people who are in the room here, because on the UN specialized agencies, you see things like the World Bank. So the World Bank is classified as a UN special agency. And you have to approach this with like a really broad mind, by the way, when you're doing business development, in particular when you're pursuing opportunities. So earlier in the year, we were looking at some opportunities, and we saw one, and it was in Montreal, and our organization is based in Montreal, and it was International Civil Aviation Authority organization. We were like, hey, that looks pretty interesting, but we don't know anything about aviation. We're like, but we can do that. So we did it, and we won. And so on Friday, our evaluation will be presented to the General Counsel of the International Civil Aviation Authority, and it was in Montreal. And that was great. That was a block away from our office. And we're like, this is the best project ever, right? Because we didn't have to go anywhere. They took the metro, they went to there. We had somebody in there for 3 months straight. Like, that's a good job. And all they did was fill in that P11 form. Fill in the P11 form. That's what you want to do. That's a great starting point for a really easy opportunity. Now, let's have a look around the rest of the country and see where there's other UN organizations. That's what I did. Not to belabor the point, but we won another one that way. So tip on the UN agencies, they're out there, they're there. There's more of them than anybody else. And I'll tell you, when you go to Global Affairs Canada and you tell them, I always tell them, hey, I was just working, and I was telling Vaughn and Shannon at lunch, hey, I just won 2 World Bank projects with the Multi-Donor Trust Fund. And then Vaughn gave me advice about how to work with the Multi-Donor Trust Fund. And you bet I'm going to go back tomorrow to work, and I'm going to take Vaughn's advice. Because in this country, we have a lot of knowledge, and we need to access the knowledge base. Don't look at your neighbors as your competitor. Look at them as your friends, your advisors, your supporters. They may not be great partners, no offense, because they're not really going to help you, but they might be great assets to you in terms of advice. And when we do the IFI boot camp here, we bring in the government of Canada agencies here to give advice, to give support to Canadian organizations to pursue international opportunities. They're quite helpful. So where do you find these things? You find them in the global marketplace. That's actually what it's called, ungm.org. So go to ungm.org, you'll find all of the information there. $17 billion worth of possible markets. It's a single window portal where you can go in there and get whatever you need. 99% of the money spent goes through that portal. So I hang around that portal a lot, by the way. It's a handy place to be. So you can register on the portal. You have to register on the portal. If you don't register on the portal, you won't get it. So you have to pick which level you want to register on. So if you're looking for small contracts, you register at the basic level. If you're looking at level 1, it's up to $500,000, and level 2, over $500,000. So you have to pick one of the 3 levels, you click on it, then you register. So last year, for example, using the portal, we produced opportunities from 6 different specialized agencies. This year, so far, 8. So the portal works, and the portal contracts range in size from the smallest ones to I think the biggest one we won was around $3 million off the portal, which is pretty good. Typical competition, around 7. Why do you register? Well, you have to register through the procurement division so they can all access the single portal. So it's like when you use ADB registration system, you go in through the ADB portal, and all of the officers can look through there, and they can actually find you and give you a job, believe it or not. So if you have a P11 in there, and you've registered on the portal, they might just call you up and say, hey, do you want to come to work? It happens. But not if you don't register, and not if you don't have your P11 done, and not if your staff don't know what UNGM is. So you get nothing if you don't know what it is. You don't go there. So there's a certain portion of opportunists who are hanging around UNGM all the time. Just go in there every day. First thing in the morning, look, you'll find something every day. every single day. That's how many there are there. You can find them earlier on the Expression of Interest website. So typically these things are posted just like Global Affairs does, well in advance. Then the opportunity comes up. Then you're ready. Always be ready. Always be bid ready. If you're not bid ready, you're too late. Global Affairs is very generous, by the way, 6 to 8 weeks. World Bank gives you 10 days, typically. Maybe if you're lucky, 3 weeks. So you sort of have to have all your systems in place. So again, here's the hyperlink. So in this presentation, just to expedite it, you'll find all the links you need to register on the UN system, all the sites and how it works. So when you apply for these things, make sure that you have all your stuff together. So if you click on the prerequisites for eligibility link, you'll see what you have to declare. If you can't declare, similar to Global Affairs, then don't waste your time. Go back, get ready, make sure everything's all in order. Those are downloadable PDFs, by the way. The code of conduct, there is a GM guide. I tried to bring it with me, but it's 90 pages long. So in the interest of the environment, I put the hyperlink there. So you want to just click on that, go in there, and you'll find everything you need. And it'll help you fill out the supplier registration in case you have any challenges. So what are the typical characteristics of the system? You'll see one, again, repeating, you need to register. Don't hang around the marketplace without having a password and a username. Otherwise, you'll click on it, try to register, and there'll be nothing there. So, 2, there's different types of tender notices. You can filter them by EOI, publication date, RFP. So if you're only looking for RFPs, you can just find RFPs. Qualifications. I think what we heard earlier is, don't go applying for things you're not qualified for. And if you work in specific sectors, follow your sector expertise. Like if you're an education specialist, but you might also be an expert in planning. If you're a health specialist, you might also be an M&E specialist. So you can have multiple specializations. It's just some of them are sectoral and some of them are thematic. Remember, you don't get sole source. Competition is guaranteed. So, but the good thing is typically the competition is less than 5. Less than 5 is good. Sometimes you'll see 8, 9. That's unusual. Like the one we just won, I was so suspicious. And in competitive bidding, you get really, really suspicious. I was so suspicious. I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this. This got 8 people. 2 of them were our former partners. And I was like, why are they on there? So I went to our president and I said, do you want to bid this? She said, no, it looks too hard. And I'm like, it looks too hard. Now we're going to do it just because you said it looks too hard. Because if it looks too hard, it's going to be, everybody else must think it looks too hard. That's a good thing. But is it doable, like we heard? If they just give you like 10 days. So they didn't have a budget. I looked at it, I was like, I don't care. I'm going to put down what I think it needs to do this job. I'm going to put down exactly the level of effort. I'm going to break it down by the micro, and I did. And when we won, they came back and they go, this is so detailed. What are we going to do? I go, well, now we need to be flexible, right? We don't need to do everything that we put in here. So if you break it down, then you can roll it up, right? But if you haven't broken it down, now you've got some work to do. Right. So the better you plan, the better your proposal. The better your financial proposal. The better your personnel proposal. The better your mobilization proposal. The better, what did you say? If I have to get from A to B, like mobility. Like how long did it take me to get to Edmonton? Do I need the most direct flight? How long do I take to get home? Can I go to Washington in the day and back? Do I need a hotel room? Those kinds of things. That's the difference. Now, they always say reimbursables don't count, but they do, by the way. So I'll just go quickly through a story about the IFI. There's a bunch of them. World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Inter-American Bank, the Caribbean Development Bank, and the African Development Bank. Now, fortunately, I always tell people, I come from a time when they were Global Affairs, CETA used to tell us, hey, work your way up to the banks. So we worked with Global Affairs, CETA, to get to the point where we could compete against the rest of the world. This is global competition. So it's not like, it's very difficult. So you need to have systems and processes, and you need to understand how they work, and you need to have regional experience in similar projects. You need to have partnerships. You need to understand how the bank staff work, how the executing agencies work. These are typically lending or grants. So a country borrows money from the bank, then you have to deal with the country and the bank. Like, it's not easy. Then there's a country office, and typically it's a very complex assignment. But like all the other ones, there's opportunities at each stage in the process. So I like to say, like, if you're good at planning, there's opportunities for planning. If you're good at monitoring and evaluation, there's opportunities at monitoring and evaluation. And if you're good in a particular sector, there's opportunities like niche specializations in health, environment, agriculture, lots of opportunities that road infrastructure. So when I was out here last, we were talking a lot about road infrastructure, energy, mining. Those are big sectors now. Infrastructure, there's different kinds of selection processes. Quality cost, quality, fixed budget, least cost, consultant qualification. So if you're interested in this, fill out a P11, get it in the system, find out what they're doing. On the pipeline, you can see. On the pipeline, there's 1,142 projects right now. So there's lots of opportunities in those 1,100 projects, you know. The total forecast is 109 billion. And if any of these countries interest you, this is where the bulk of current allocations are in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the top 10 African countries. Of the top 10, the top 4 are Nigeria, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Kenya, which, interestingly enough, are the top 4 countries that correlate to the African Development Bank and Global Affairs Canada, although I'm not so sure about Nigeria. So most of these opportunities are presented through something called eConsult 2. Now, if you're registered on eConsult 2, you can punch that in, and all of a sudden you see opportunities right away. That's what it looks like right there. So you'll see the list, you'll see the value, you'll see the deadline date. Now, they typically only give you a week, 5 days to put it in. So when we talk about partnering for success, because often, like a lot of people ask me about this, I think it's a good thing to partner for success. I think it's one of the things that Canadians need to really improve upon. Find out what you can add to the other and put together something that's better in a unified moment. You'll have greater levels of success. And I think what Vaughn was putting down about the way you evaluate things. Global Affairs is very demanding in terms of the fundamental sections that they ask you for. But all of those things are important in every other market as well. So you're being asked to look at things that everyone else is going to ask you anyways. So you might as well get used to it, and you might as well get good at it. So they're looking at the experience of the firm, your key personnel, your product, your management capacity, and of course your financials. But what Vaughn was talking about results, focus on how you're going to achieve something, what it really means, not what you're going to do, not whatever activity you have in mind, but what you're going to produce with the Government of Canada's investment, what you're going to do to produce with these funding opportunities that's going to mean something towards the achievement of at least one of the Sustainable Development Goals. Use the SDG indicator database to anchor your presentation. So if you're managing for results, you need to be able to measure it. You need to be able to report it. You need to be able to accurately present your achievements. Value for money is essentially what we're talking about. Get to the market. Partner, research, bid, learn, register, finance. If you don't have the money, you're not going to get the honey. Okay, so you got to invest in these things. Don't look at bidding as gambling. Look at it as an investment for the future. Don't look at preparing proposals as a risk. Look at it as putting the foundations for your future in the organization. So the more people you get involved, the more people get trained, the better the results are going to be. So that's why you have to keep trying and try again, because you're not going to win every time. You know, it's not going to happen. If you win 1 out of 4, you're doing a great job. For more information, you can contact me there. Thank you.